You're sitting there, alone. It's been 2 days since her last message. No follow-up, no reply, just silence. And yet, you can't stop thinking about that moment. The way her eyes lingered, the softness in her voice when she said goodbye. It felt real. It felt close. So why now? This distance? Your thoughts begin to spiral. She's done. She's lost interest. Maybe I messed up. But deep inside, something else stirs. Not fear, but a quiet realization. What if this isn't rejection? What if her silence isn't punishment, but a test? What if her distance is not a wall, but a mirror? And what you choose to do next, right now, will either reinforce her attraction or quietly erase it. Most men chase. They panic, overthink, send double texts. But not you. Not anymore. Say it with me in the comments. I rise. I don't chase. Let those words guide you from this moment forward. This message isn't for boys. It's for the man who's tired of guessing, who's ready to understand why a woman steps back, even when her heart leans in. You're not here to manipulate. You're here to master yourself, your presence, your energy, your response. And if this message finds you in a moment of silence, you're not alone. Another man somewhere out there is asking the same question. Why did she pull away when it felt so real? Share this video not for clicks, not just for yourself, but for the next man staring at his phone, wondering if silence means it's over, or if it's just the beginning of who he needs to become. Number 1, she feels you, even when silent. You sit there, staring at your phone, scrolling through old conversations, replaying the last time you saw her, the way she leaned closer, the way her smile lingered just a little longer. It felt real. It felt right. So why now? This silence. Your mind races. Maybe you said something wrong. Maybe she's losing interest. The doubts crawl in, whispering fears you can't shake. But what you don't see is that her silence is not abandonment. It's not rejection. It's communication without words. A woman doesn't simply disconnect without reason. She feels more than she speaks. She senses the energy you radiate, the shift in your tone, the weight in your words, the hidden neediness that begins to seep through. When you start seeking her validation instead of standing in your strength, she feels it. And instinctively, she steps back. Not to punish you, not because she no longer cares, but to watch, to observe what remains when her warmth is withdrawn. Most men panic at this point. They rush to fill the silence. They text more, call more, post more, trying to pull her attention back. But every desperate move only confirms her worst fear. The strength she admired was an illusion. She doesn't need your panic. She's looking for your presence. She wants to feel the man who doesn't shake when she steps away. The silence you're experiencing isn't empty. It's a test. It's a battlefield of attraction. And the men who win aren't the ones who chase. They're the ones who stay grounded. She feels when you remain calm. She feels when you stand still. And she feels even more when you become restless and needy. Attraction doesn't flourish in comfort. It grows in tension, in uncertainty, in the unknown. So when she pulls back, don't chase, don't analyze, don't replay every word. Instead, anchor yourself deeper, strengthen your mission, sharpen your body, discipline your mind, because women are drawn not to the man who needs them, but to the man who carries his own gravity. The quieter you become, the louder your energy speaks. When she retreats, hold your ground. When she ignores you, build yourself. When she doesn't validate you, validate your own worth. And the moment she realizes, your peace doesn't depend on her presence, her curiosity ignites. This is how nature works. What stands still becomes magnetic. What chases becomes forgettable. Every time you choose strength over reaction, you become rarer in her eyes. You remind her of the man she once admired, the man with a life so full, so unshakable, that he could not be lost, even in silence. The man who didn't need her love, to love himself. So, how do you pass this test? You don't fight the silence. You become the silence. You move with intention. You act with purpose. You build without begging. Because when she feels your calm, when she senses your strength standing silently in the space she created, something powerful shifts inside her. You're not losing her. You're showing her what true presence feels like. Right now, with no words spoken, you are either affirming her worst doubts or awakening her deepest desires. The choice isn't made by what you say. It's made by who you become when the world goes silent. Number 2, you must be the wall, not the wind. As she starts pulling away, quietly observing from a distance, what she's really doing isn't judging your words or measuring your gestures. She's feeling your gravity, your steadiness, your emotional core. The moment she senses you slipping into reaction, panicking, chasing, overextending, the attraction she once felt begins to erode. If she responds with one-word texts and you flood her inbox trying to get a reaction, you lose. If she withdraws and you rush in with concern and endless validation, you lose. If she tests your boundaries and you backpedal just to stay liked, you lose. Not because she wants to destroy you, but because she needs to know. What are you made of when the pressure hits? A man who craves her constant attention to feel valuable is a man she cannot feel safe with. A man who falls apart emotionally when she pulls back is a man she cannot trust with her heart. She needs to know that if the storm comes, you're still standing. That if she spirals emotionally, you stay rooted. That when she pushes, you don't flinch. Being the wall isn't about being cold. It's about being composed. Not robotic, but anchored, calm, unshaken by passing storms. Women feel deeply, love fiercely, but they cannot give themselves to a man who crumbles at every shift in their emotional tides. When she says, "I need space," she isn't asking for you to react. She's watching, seeing whether you can respect her need without losing your own center. Do you beg and crumble? Or do you step back and double down on your mission? When she grows distant, Do you start proving your worth, or do you stay grounded, unmoved in your purpose? Building the wall doesn't mean ignoring her. It means not allowing her emotional swings to dictate your inner stability. That's the essence of true strength. Holding your ground when the waves crash against you. When her emotional storm tries to test your peace, do you drown, or do you hold the shoreline steady? Emotional self-control is not weakness, it's power. The power to pause before reacting, the power to breathe instead of panicking, the power to observe instead of obsessing. That's what separates boys from men. That's what builds the kind of deep safety that makes a woman want to surrender her heart. Not because she's manipulated, but because she finally feels safe to let go. So what must you do? You stop asking her to regulate your feelings. You stop making her the axis of your emotional world. You build a mission so compelling, so powerful, that her silence becomes background noise. You create a life so meaningful that her moods can't derail your momentum. You discipline your mind to respond with clarity, not impulsive reactions. She doesn't want you to be indifferent. She wants you to be inevitable. She wants your presence to speak louder than any words could. She wants your silence to feel like thunder, not retreat. And if you become that man, the wall, the immovable one, then no matter how fierce her storms become, she will always come back to you. Not because you chased, not because you pleaded, but because you showed her, without saying a word, that you are the kind of man no storm can shake. In a world full of emotional winds and unstable foundations, a man who holds his ground is unforgettable. Ask yourself, when she shifts, do you react, or do you stand deeper in your truth? When she tests, do you lose yourself, or do you reveal your strength? Be the wall. She doesn't want to topple you. She wants to find out if she ever could. Number 3, her chaos needs your calm. Her emotions can come crashing in, wild, sudden, and overwhelming. But when her waves rise, your job is not to rise with them. Your role is to become her anchor, her steady ground when everything feels unsteady. She doesn't need you to correct her chaos. She needs you to contain it, not with force, not by control, but simply by standing firm. True presence doesn't demand explanations. It doesn't shrink from the fire. It absorbs the storm without flinching. If you want her to respect you, stop reacting to every emotional surge. Stop trying to fix her feelings. Stop treating every mood swing as a personal attack. The moment she senses that her emotions can dismantle you, she loses trust. Not necessarily in your intentions, but in your strength. She needs to feel something stronger than her emotional pull. Not your logic, not your clever words, but your unshakable calm. Most people think strength is loud, aggressive, forceful, but real strength is restraint. It's knowing when to stay silent, when to step back, when not to explain yourself. Just because the ground feels shaky. When she spirals, the weak man tries to argue her back into peace. The strong man listens, not to correct her, but to contain the space. Knowing the storm isn't about him. Her chaos is not your battle to win. It's a test of what you stand on. She needs to know, if I fall apart, will you fall apart with me? If I pull away, will you chase like a boy, or wait like a man? Your calm is not just your armor. It's the emotional ground she learns to walk on. When that ground shakes, everything else becomes uncertain. So, how do you stay steady? You discipline your reactions. You practice patience. You stop needing control. You offer clarity instead of confusion. You stop trying to prove your worth. You embody it. Silently. Consistently. She's not asking you to be perfect. She's asking you to be present. She's not looking for solutions. She's searching for a steady energy. One that doesn't tremble when hers does. In a world full of people reacting to every trigger, steadiness is rare. It's magnetic. You want to be rare? Then act rare. Don't chase when she pulls away. Don't demand when she resists. Don't explode when she unravels. Observe, breathe, redirect your energy into your craft, your body, your mission, your mind. Because every moment you respond with peace, you reveal real power, not just to her, but to yourself. And in that stillness, you become the one man. Her storms can't shake. Her chaos isn't your enemy. It's your invitation to rise. Number 4. Let her walk, but leave the door open. You feel it before you even understand it. The slowing messages, the colder conversations, the slight retreat you can't quite explain. It hits your chest like a silent blow, an invisible ache deeper than any argument ever could. Your instincts roar to life. Chase her. Fix it. Hold on tighter. But in that rush to chase, you reveal something you don't intend to, that your strength was never real, that your confidence was stitched together by her attention. The moment she sees this, the man she admired can't stand tall without her validation. Everything changes. You were never meant to trap her. You were meant to be the kind of man who could let her walk and yet remain the man she remembers. A woman doesn't need a man who clings. She needs a man who chooses her freely, but who remains whole even when alone. So when she says she needs space, give it. When she hesitates, let her. When she steps back, you step deeper into yourself, not as a tactic, but because it's who you truly are. The truth is simple. Your life does not pause for anyone's indecision. Your worth does not shrink when someone pulls away. Your mission does not lose meaning because of one person's absence. If you want to become unforgettable, it's not by chasing. It's by rising in silence, by becoming sharper, stronger, deeper, without needing anyone to witness it. While others flood her phone with messages, you say nothing. While others suffocate her space, you expand yours. You become the man whose silence echoes louder than any desperate plea. You don't chase love. You embody it. You let it come naturally, but you never beg for it. Let her walk, not because you are indifferent, but because you value your soul more than anyone's confusion. Let her walk, because it's in that space, that beautiful, aching space, where her mind will circle back to you. She will remember the man who didn't crumble, the man who didn't bargain with his dignity, the man who didn't shrink just to be chosen. And that memory will haunt her, softly but powerfully. She will wonder, did I leave a boy who needed me, or a man who stood even when I left? You don't need to slam the door shut. You don't need to lock her out. You simply stop waiting at the threshold. Leave the door open. Let her walk. Because if your connection was ever real, if she truly felt your presence, she won't forget it. She may resist it. She may deny it, but she will feel it. In the hollow spaces where your energy used to be. She won't miss your words. She'll miss your steadiness. She'll miss your calm. She'll miss the way your presence grounded her, without demanding anything in return. That's the power of the man who builds, not chases. The man who attracts by being whole, not by clinging. Ask yourself, are you living a life so rich, so full of purpose, that her absence is merely a chapter, not your whole story? Are you becoming the man who keeps moving forward, whether she stays or goes? Because you don't lose her by letting her go. You lose her when your need for her outweighs your need to become who you are destined to be. So let her walk, and while she walks, you keep building, you keep rising, not to win her back, but because that's what real men do. Number 5, stand still when she runs. You notice it first in the spaces. Longer pauses, shorter replies, a subtle coldness replacing warmth. Your instincts scream, reach out, fix it, pull her back. But the truth is, this isn't a call to chase. It's a test of stillness. When she withdraws, she's not seeking a rescue. She's asking a silent question. Will you crumble, or will you stay grounded? Most men collapse here. They spiral into fear, sending desperate messages, posting for validation, chasing what's slipping away. But every frantic move only confirms what she fears, that your strength was an act, held together by her attention. Real presence doesn't chase, it stands. When she steps back, your task is not to follow, it's to remain, not passive, not indifferent, but rooted, deep within your mission, your truth, your calm. She's not looking for effort, she's searching for energy, the kind that doesn't sway when she pulls away. If your peace evaporates the moment she shifts, you were never peaceful. You were attached. Stillness is rare. It demands discipline, patience, and self-trust. It means you don't mirror her withdrawal. You don't play emotional ping-pong. You hold your ground. You stay consistent, focused, clear. And that steadiness does something most words never could. It stirs her curiosity. She starts to wonder, why didn't he chase? Why didn't he panic? Why is he still him? That wonder plants a deeper seed than any confession ever could. Women feel truth emotionally, even when they can't name it logically. If you react to every shift, you teach her you are shaped by her moods, not your own principles. But if you stay solid, you become magnetic. So how do you cultivate this? You build your life intentionally. You discipline your days. You invest your energy where it matters. Your body, your mind, your mission. You choose purpose over panic, strength over neediness, clarity over confusion. Every time you feel the urge to reach for her, you reach deeper into your own life. Not to prove anything, not to win her back, but because that's who you are becoming. You become the man who can stand in silence without fear, who can endure uncertainty without crumbling, who can wait, not because he's idle, but because he's aligned with something greater. Stillness is not weakness, it's power. It's the signal that says, I am whole, with or without you. She's not testing your affection, she's testing your emotional leadership. Can you be the calm when she storms? Can you stay true when she falters? Can you hold space without losing yourself? If you flinch, you fail. If you chase, you lose gravity. If you break, she questions everything. So stand still, let her run, and you keep walking, not toward her, toward your mission, toward your higher self. Because if she's meant for you, she'll find her way back. Not to the man who chased her, but to the man who never stopped growing. Ask yourself, when the world gets quiet, who are you then? When the one you want most steps away, do you collapse? Or do you rise even higher? Stand still. Stand firm. Be unshakable. Number 6. Become a man she can't shake. She tests you without words, through silence, through distance, through hesitation that leaves you wondering. But beneath those actions, she isn't just pulling away. She's measuring your foundation, testing whether you are real or just another man built on performance. Most men fail here. They negotiate desire. They explain themselves. They chase after fading affection, hoping to patch what's slipping away. But a woman doesn't feel deep attraction through comfort. She feels it through contrast, through tension, through your ability to remain unshaken when her energy changes. If you want to linger in her mind long after you've walked away, stop managing her perception. Start managing your standard. Every time you chase as she pulls back, you quietly admit, my worth depends on your attention. And the second she senses that imbalance, the attraction she once felt dissolves. She doesn't stay for the man who says the right things. She stays for the man whose silence says even more. The man whose energy doesn't waver, even when the tides shift. When she pulls back and you ask why, instead of rising higher, you become forgettable. But when you rise in her silence, when you grow instead of grovel, when you stay focused while she retreats, you become unforgettable. Not because of any words you said, but because of the force you became. She feels it, in the stillness, in the silence, in the gravity you carry that doesn't depend on her validation. Because deep down, she knows most men collapse when a woman becomes uncertain. But you are not most men. You belong to a different class entirely. You cannot be shaken, because you've already made peace with standing alone. You've welded yourself to a mission greater than any momentary affection. You've built a life so solid that any woman who enters it feels fortunate, not entitled. That's the separation. A man she can shake is a man whose strength disappears with her absence. A man she can't shake becomes even sharper, even more focused, even more magnetic when she steps away. She'll feel it, even as she pretends not to, checking if you posted, wondering why you didn't chase, feeling the vacuum where your neediness used to be. And that confusion, that's when her emotional testing turns into emotional obsession. Because you broke the cycle she's so used to. She's used to men folding. She's used to men chasing. She's used to men needing her more than they need their own path. But when you show her, without a word, that you're carved from a different stone, she can't ignore it. She feels it in the way your silence holds weight. She feels it in the way your absence feels like presence. In that moment, you move from being one of many to the one she can't seem to forget. Not because you tried harder, because you became more. You became the man who walks through heartbreak and still leads. The man who turns pain into sharpened purpose. The man who doesn't shrink when tested, but expands. So how do you become him? You master your body. You refine your mind. You strip away every excuse you've used to stay average. You turn silence into your training ground. You transform rejection into momentum. Every moment you once wasted in worry, you now invest into your mission. Every ounce of doubt becomes fuel for mastery. And while she's wondering why you didn't chase, you'll be too busy building a life so powerful. She'll question whether she ever deserved a place in it. You don't prove your worth by chasing women. You prove it by becoming undeniable, by creating a life where only the worthy can stand beside you. And when you do that, you reverse the entire dynamic. You shift her from testing you to questioning herself. Her curiosity deepens, her obsession begins, and by then, you no longer need her to choose you, because you've already chosen the best version of yourself. The version no woman can replace. The version forged not by attention, but by solitude. And nothing is more magnetic than the man who needed no one to become everything. She might pull away, she might ignore you, even if she loves you, not to break you, but to see if your strength is real or just a mask you wore to win her heart. Because true love isn't born in comfort. It's forged in uncertainty, in the silence, in the space between what you want to say and how you choose to respond. You may think she's losing interest, that she's found someone else, that her distance means you never mattered. But often, her silence isn't rejection, it's reflection. She's watching, she's wondering, if I stop giving him attention, will he collapse? If I stop chasing, will he come running? She's not testing your emotions, she's testing your foundation. Because when a woman loves deeply, she doesn't want to offer that love to someone who can't hold it with strength. And strength doesn't mean control. It means leadership, stillness, presence. She's checking to see, will you stand tall without being held up? If you beg, chase, or spiral, you answer her without words. You show her that your peace depended on her validation. You reveal that she wasn't a gift you cherished. She was the ground beneath your self-worth, and that she cannot trust. Ask yourself this: if you had a daughter, would you want her to give her heart to a man who needs constant reassurance just to stay grounded? Number, you'd want her with a man who remains steady, who doesn't fold in the face of silence, who doesn't crumble when she needs space. That's the man she can trust with her heart. That's who you must become. Because if she ignores you and you remain centered, if you keep walking your path without chasing approval, you become unforgettable. She'll feel your absence not as a void, but as a signal of strength. She'll remember the man who didn't flinch, who didn't fold, who didn't lose himself when she stepped back. And she will return, not because you pulled her, but because you never pulled away from yourself. That's the difference between being remembered and being missed. If this message hit something inside you, it's because you've lived it. We have too. We've stared at a phone that stayed silent. We've doubted our worth when attention disappeared. But we didn't stay broken. We rebuilt. Now it's your turn. But don't walk this path alone. Support this channel, not just for content, but for clarity. For the next man sitting in silence, needing words that speak to his soul. So, like, comment, and subscribe. But more than that, live this. Bring this energy into your workouts, into your work, into your purpose. Show the world what it looks like when a man stops chasing approval and starts becoming undeniable. And if you're ready, comment below. I build myself in silence. Because when others fold in that silence, you rise.